All right, I think you could hear me now, Mister Tip. Can you hear me? I'm doing a sound check right now. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on Archive D Style here. This is not a planned show. Um, quick announcement for those listening on Archive and all that. Look, man, in February, we will start the regular Monday through Thursday shows again. We'll start going strong and kick off from there. Right now, I'm just throwing in a video I can here and there, coming live when I can. Um, a lot going on, but we'll leave that aside for now. Okay, let's leave that aside. I know it's not. So want to keep the momentum we had going, man. When we in the middle of December that we had going, want to continue that. But anyway, here I am. Okay, I want to talk about this topic in particular. What's going on to Brooklyn Child Boxing, DJ Mexicano de Tejas, and he agrees with the title 1,000%. So, man, we are in the year 2020, and we're still, till this day, having arguments about MMA and boxing, and it's amazing to me. And it keeps getting recycled, and I can't express to people enough that boxers need to stay in boxing and MMA fighters need to stay in MMA. Like it's just for many reasons. Now, if a boxer wants to make a transition into MMA and they want to do it the right way and say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate myself. I don't want to do this boxing thing no more. I want to go fight in a cage now. I'm going to do my thing over there. I'm going to transition. I'm going to learn some jujitsu and all the whole nine. Of course, I do believe that there are boxers that can make a proper transition if they do the transition correctly. And it's going to take a long time. That they're not going to become like a beast overnight in MMA. They're just not. If an MMA fighter wants to make a proper transition to boxing, go ahead and do it, but do it the right way. I am tired of these so-called proposed matchups, and it's ridiculous. Oh, let's just do Conor versus Manny Pacquiao. Why? For what? Like, what's the point of that? For what? Oh, let's Crawford has a wrestling background. Let's put him in the cage. Why? For what? Tyson Fury talking about going like, and not only that, many times they don't go to the other sport and fight, but they just do it because it garners attention and people start talking about it. Is he really going to do it? Is he not? And it's a successful way to garner attention. It's my guess that Bob Arum knows he's not going to throw Terrence Crawford in a fucking octagon with Conor McGregor. Okay, it's my guess that he's not going to do that, but he knows that it's going to put Crawford's name out there, so they start throwing those names out there. I cannot stress to people enough how different both sports are. They're two completely different sports. They're similar. They're both combative sports. They're both one-on-one, mano-a-mano. They're both, they have rounds, although that's a little different. The rules of combat are different. Okay. But they're vastly different aside from the similarities. Period. You cannot expect MMA fighters to strike with their hands the way boxers do because the rules are different. You can't bob and weave your way out of a takedown. Do you not understand? You can't use your front foot as a ruler as you do in boxing because you're going to get your chins kicked. It's different. The stances are different for a reason. They're vastly different. In fact, even the quote unquote boxing in MMA is not even remotely close to real boxing. Marcus of Queensberry boxing. It's not remotely close. By the way, you're coming in, throw a jab at the damn like button. I came on live for you. You stay right here. Mr. Tiptoe says, I agree with you there. If boxer enters the cage and gets put in arm hold, he gets injured. One fight, that's their whole career down the drain. They better leave those black belts and wrestlers alone. It's a whole different beast. He tells Baxter tonight to IQ for today. For today. Can you explain to me what do we gain by seeing a boxer go to other than getting humiliated? What does boxing gain out of that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, I need to stress this again. I am not against an individual, okay, having if they have an epiphany and they say, you know what, I'm going to go after this MMA thing. Okay. Okay, cool. Like that's cool if you do it the right way, but you need to understand what that's going to entail. If you're a professional boxer, especially if you've been doing boxing for amateur boxing since you were a teenager or even younger, okay, you have developed yourself as an athlete. You have developed yourself, okay, as a fighter in a specific type of element. Everything, okay, like your body has been developed under a certain set of rules. You've developed certain, habits. You've developed certain skills that take a long time to master, in which are not effective in the other said art. All right? That is something we got to take serious. Jay Souza in the house. It's rare that either can be successful crossover, co-sign what you're saying, D-Style. Nobody, it's not beneficial to the knowledge that we need. We already know what the fuck's going to happen. Like, you gotta be a serious hater of MMA to like have no respect for it and say, the boxers go in there and just fuck them up. Like, they'll just knock out the MMA fighter. Like, you can't be serious. And you can't believe that. And there's seriously got to be something wrong with you if you believe an MMA fighter, okay, could go to boxing and fuck with the top boxers in the world. You got to be out of your mind. Okay? You got to be out of your mind. For a boxer to say, you know what, I'm going to transition from boxing to MMA, okay? This boxer is going to have to basically reshape his mind and physical body. Whatever muscle memory he has, he's going to have to rewire it. It doesn't work in the cage because the rules are different. Okay? Look, there is like here is what's going on. Okay, here's what's going on. Even till this day, we have individuals who just don't believe. Okay, or that believe the nonsense that boxers have like a death touch. Okay. Oh, a boxer hits you one time, he'll knock you the fuck out. Like there's no such thing as the touch of death. Okay. Like you need to understand that. Sure, there are those special cases that have that real one punch knockout power. Yes. However, it's not always going to work. Like, take the best case scenario. Let's say you get a boxer and you put him in the MMA cage, and that boxer lands a beautiful hook. If that dude doesn't go to sleep, if he just wobbles him and drops him, there's no 10 count. You have two choices. You could either follow him down there and start pounding on him, but then maybe get you in an armbar, maybe gets you, you know what I mean, in some submission. Or you're going to let him recover, and then the ref's going to stand him up. Okay? And then what are you going to do? Okay, that's just you people need, and that's a really good scenario. A really good scenario, which is likely not going to happen. Especially if the MMA fighter knows that that dude in front of me is a boxer. Believe me, okay, they're going to play the percentage game. That's what they're going to do. And here is the disadvantage, whether people want to hear it or not, okay? I'm going to give you the disadvantage that a boxer has. And it's really not so much the boxer's fault, per se, but the skills that the boxer has developed while they, of course, the hands of a boxer is lethal. Of course, if they catch you with a good punch, they will hurt you. Okay. The disadvantage that a boxer has, okay, in an open forum type fight, like where everything goes, the disadvantage the boxer has is that the boxer is fighting in a restricted form. And that restricted form is there by design. The Marquis of Queensberry rules restricted fighters from only using their hands. And not only did it restrict them from only using their hands, it restricted the way in which you can use your hands. I don't see any back fist being thrown in boxing. That's illegal in boxing. Doesn't mean it's not effective. It just means it's illegal. Now, I don't want to go through a whole spiel about that. But when the Marquis of Queensberry rules were written, they didn't like get rid of things because they were ineffective. That's not what it was. Effective strikes. By effective, I mean that can render your opponent unconscious, that could defeat your opponent. If other effective forms of striking were basically outlawed or basically stripped, okay, or not stripped, but, you know, they were made illegal in the sport of boxing. And it became gloved combat with only your fist as a weapon. Now, to me, boxing is the best sport in the world. By far. Pure boxing and a great boxing fight is the most entertaining thing, you know, ever to me. There's a reason the sport has been around for so long in its current form. Well, because it was integrated into our culture and machismo comes with it and the whole nine, okay? And we live in a society, we don't live in a society of warriors, and, okay, most people don't even know how to fight. So, of course, a dude that got good hands in boxing, okay, could fuck most dudes up, right? That's why we know it as effective. But when you put it up against other forms of complete striking, when you put it up against martial arts that were not designed, okay, to be an entertainment spectacle, which is what boxing is. They weren't designed for that. They were designed, okay, to beat your opponent in the most effective way possible. That's how they were designed. Like, I'll always get those smart asses. Well, you know, let me tell you something, man. There's nothing better than a two-piece to beat up your opponent. Okay. Of course, a two-piece is very effective against someone who doesn't see it coming. Okay. All right. And someone that doesn't know how to fight. It probably is the most effective way. Bam, bam. And then you're fucking knocked out. Of course. But just boxing by itself is not the supreme form, okay, of self-defense. It's not. All right. I love boxing. It's an amazing sport. It's an entertainment spectacle. But it's not okay, it is not like the other quote unquote martial arts. It wasn't designed for that purpose. If it was, it wouldn't have stripped other effective strikes. Okay? Now look. So when a boxer goes into a cage, all right, whether he knows it or not, he is extremely limited. Which is why when James Toney was taken down by Randy Couture, it was a wrap. It was over. Okay? Like, James Toney could have literally done anything he wanted to James Toney. Randy Couture could have done anything he wanted. Anything. And there's nothing James Toney could have done about it. If he wanted to keep pounding him on top, he could have kept doing it. He didn't have to put him out of his misery and put him in the chokehold. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to let him go to tell the ref, hey, he's giving, and then put him back in the chokehold. He didn't have to do that. If James Toney and Randy Couture got any fight outside of the octagon, outside of James Toney clipping him, okay, outside of that, it wouldn't end very well. Okay, so we have to really put that in perspective. Okay, like, we really do. It is getting out of hand, this talk. I don't understand what the talk is. What the fuck is the debate? What are we debating? Like, well, who's better, MMA or boxing? Well, that's an opinion. Whatever you like better is better. Whatever you find more entertaining is better. If you think boxing is more entertaining, that's better for you. If you think MMA is more entertaining, well, that's better for you. 9 out of 10 times, I find boxing far more entertaining than MMA. Far more. Right? Like, that's my opinion. That's my honest assessment. Maybe not 9 out of 10. Maybe 7 out of 10 times. It's more entertaining to me. All right? To me. Like, I find it more entertaining. Okay, well, what are we debating? What? Like, do you like the 10 count? I love the 10 count. I love the fact that there's a 10 count in boxing. In fact, that's one of the most traumatic moments in sports is when a fighter gets knocked down and he's trying to beat the 10 count. That's one of the most traumatic, okay, most like amazing moments in sports. It's better than a home run to me, okay? I get that same feeling that you get in very rare circumstances, like a buzzer beater or something like that. All right? To me. All right? To me. Some people like the fact that in MMA, you could lose in many ways, and there's more upsets because of the way that sport is structured. It's not just because the best fight the best. It's not just that. It's just that there's more ways to lose. You get submitted, okay? You can get knocked out. Okay, you could get ground and pounded. You could get choked. They could get your fucking ankle. They could get an arm bar. Whatever the case is, you get kicked in the head, kicked in the ribs. You know what I mean? Poked in the eye. You know, it has happened. So there's many ways you could lose. To a lot of people, right? That's more exciting. Well, I disagree. In my opinion, this is my opinion. In my opinion, when a boxer dominates another boxer, that's far more impressive to me. When a boxer beats another boxer, he literally is beating that man at what he's best at. Okay? Like, that's what you're seeing. You know, like in MMA, if one dude's a striker and one guy's like a grappler, and the grappler gets the guy down and submits him, it's like he beat him, but like, but he didn't beat me in my own game or whatever the case is, right? But he would just hug. That's an excuse they use, right? Some MMA, he was just hugging me the whole night. He didn't want to fight or whatever. Okay, me. Like, there's nothing more sad as like for example, when Roy Jones got knocked out by Antonio Tarver, my jaw hit the fucking floor. I couldn't believe what I just fucking saw. Because up until that point, man, I didn't recall many rounds Roy Jones lost, even though you could argue he lost the first Tarver fight. But I'm talking about the perception I had. Never in a million years did I think Roy Jones would get knocked out. But he got knocked the fuck out in a boxing ring against Tarver, and that was shocking to me. We had to wait a long time to see that. We had to go through a lot of dominance by Roy Jones before we got to that. But put that aside. Okay? Each sport is its own thing. Okay? There are like certain like if you look at boxing, we have all types of boxers, right? We have outboxers, we have counter punchers, we got boxer punchers, we got guys, brawlers that like to fight on the inside. We do have different styles of boxers, right? That you just don't see in MMA, right? Because in MMA, you don't lock horns on the inside to dig body shots and get uppercuts inside as much, because a dude can grab you by the back of the neck and throw a fucking knee in your face. Like there's certain types of techniques and approaches in the sweet science in boxing that do not work in a damn cage. Because those styles have been developed within the rules that we know in the boxing ring. Only in that world have those styles been effective. They weren't designed to be effective against someone who could knee you in the face, because kneeing in the face is illegal in boxing. You don't have to worry about a knee to the face unless you're fighting Marco Maidana. Okay, but in all seriousness. Hey, guys, remember Maidana kneed Floyd, all right? But anyway, you don't have to worry about someone throwing you to the ground. Throwing is illegal. Okay, you don't have to worry about getting double-legged. That's just not a thing. You don't have to worry about getting your kicks from under getting kicked, all right? So certain styles just don't work. The only thing that they take from boxing, the only thing, okay, it's not the movements, okay, and the thought process that you have in the boxing ring. It's the pieces, the jab, the hook, the cross, and the uppercut is all they take from boxing. They don't take the footwork, okay? They don't take the stance, the way you blade your body, okay? They don't take any of the inside fighting, okay? They don't take any of that. That's all they take. They just take some of the effective strikes that you have, okay? And even the way they set those up is different. That's all it is. Let me go over some of the chat here. What's up to AJ10 in the house? What's going on, AJ10? Big Doze, what's going on? Scrapbook Boxing in the house. What's going on, Scrapbook? AJ10, anyone play volleyball and beach volleyball? It's the same sport, but way different. And it's basically the same sport. Now, I never played beach volleyball, no. I'm sure most high school, high-level boxers have never sparred barefoot in their lives. Probably not, no. No shoulder roll in MMA. Like, if you try the shoulder roll in MMA, bro, you're going to get kicked in the head, bro. Okay. What's up, Blood Corpse Gamer? Tyson Fury will get blinded in the eye if he fights John Jones in MMA. Eddie Alem, eye poke Jones. Wow. So what's up, Big Dog Willie? What's going on, bro? It's just two totally different sports, guys. That's what it is. It's two different sports. By far. Like, it's not even close. All right, it's not even close. Boxing today, it does not even resemble, like, it's not even close to what it was, okay, in the mid-1800s or something, okay? Like, it's different. It's different. I'm telling you. And MMA, same thing. So one of the dumbest things I heard, right? Like, I remember Shaw, or what's his name? Schaub, or whatever his name is, right? Was saying that Conor McGregor's going to get in, like, in a somewhat of a karate stance against Mayweather. And he said that that Mayweather's going to have trouble with the distance that they use in MMA. And I said that was retarded. Like, why would he have trouble with that if you can't even strike him from there? Why would a stance designed to, be prepared for a takedown or a kick or something like that? Why would that stance be better in a sport where you only use your fist? That was one of and if you look at the fight, McGregor never did that. Ever. Any resemblance of success McGregor had, honestly, was tied to his early days when he was a boxer. Okay? There was no MMA moves that he really did. Like, what? Because that was stupid. No, but these style, you gotta, like, I mean, come on. Brandon Shaw, yeah, that's him. Big Dog Willie, elite boxer, are now doing MMA, risking their career for payday. Hey, you do what you want to do. What's up? Smash that like button, absolutely. What's up? What's going on, Apple Type? If anybody wants to come on, let me know, by the way. On any smoke signals, you can ask for a link. Like, if there's anyone out there that wants to argue with me that, oh, no, like an MMA fighter could jump to boxing right now and fight the best or vice versa, by all means. This is ridiculous, bro. Do you guys remember Jeremy Williams? Now, Jeremy Williams was a heavyweight boxing contender. Jeremy, half man, half amazing Williams, okay? He was, I believe he reached the top 10. By who, I don't know, but he was definitely in a lot of sanctioning bodies, top 10. But nonetheless, the highlight of his career, unfortunately for him, was when Samuel Peter knocked him the fuck out. Okay, so he got no shame in the heights he reached. You know what I mean? But that's the one highlight he has. Yet there is footage of him arguing with Lennox Lewis. You could look this up. They were arguing about something. I don't know about what. But, they were sparring. They were arguing. He picked up Lennox Lewis and slammed him to the mat. Okay? I believe he did it twice. He might have just done it once, but I know he did it twice for sure. Once for sure. And Lennox got up, and he just manhandled. Lennox was a big guy. Okay? And there's footage of this out there, right? Now, Jeremy Williams actually, okay, went 5-0 in MMA, right? Like, believe it or not, I think he won one by submission, by the way. Okay, the other guys like submission by strikes or something like that. He did beat like a wrestler that had a win against Randy Couture and amateur wrestling, stuff like that. So how did he go 5-0? Right now, it was against subpar, middle of the road MMA fighters. Right, this wasn't elite fighters. But how did he go 5-0? Or did he just do it with boxing? Was it boxing style? No. Did he use his, he did land a good hook on some dudes, stuff like that. But sometimes, there was a couple times he shot on him and took him down. Okay. But it's because he knew what to do. He was also a judoka. Okay. The guy knew judo like very well. So he was able to utilize his knowledge of judo when he did take him down to get the fight back on the feet. And even got some submissions. And this was a guy who was in a top 10 in heavyweight boxing. If he did not have his judoka background, his knowledge of judo, he would have probably been like 2-3 or 3-2 in MMA. Maybe 1-4. Maybe 0-5. Who fucking knows? Okay. You have to have a very solid base in some type of ground fighting, okay, for you to be successful in MMA. Period. Okay? I don't care. You could be the biggest killer in the history of killers on stand-up. And the other thing we need to keep in mind is that boxing's even limited in striking. That you could only use your hands. Now, in my opinion, that's what makes it beautiful. Okay? I think that's great. I love boxing for what it is. But if you throw a boxer in a cage, even in the striking department, they are limited in what they do. Doesn't like obviously, if you know how, like, if you have some type of karate or kempo background or something like that, okay, and you happen to be a professional boxer, it's not out of the realm, okay. But at the end of the day, you have to have other forms, other knowledges. What's going on to best fight the best? When it says salute, what's going on? What's going on, man? Kenneth Johnson, what's up? You have to have a certain knowledge now. Okay? I will say this. I want to transition to the following. There's some reports out there that are saying, right, that Conor McGregor versus Cowboy did 2 million buys. That's what they're saying. Okay? That's what they're reporting. Let me tell you guys this right now, and I don't want to come off as a hater saying this or anything, but I never believe the UFC numbers. And the reason I never believe them is because anytime they're put out there, they themselves say that they're unofficial figures. They say that themselves. What do you mean they're unofficial figures? How are you going to come out and say, oh, this fight did 1.5 million, but then say they're unofficial figures? Did you know, people have already forgotten about this, but when UFC 100 happened, they said that pay-per-view, if you remember that was the Lesnar against Mir and George St. Pierre was on that card and the 09. They said at that time that the pay-per-view did 1.7 million. That's what they said. They're going around saying it did 1.7 million. Now, I remember at the time, Bob Arum came out and said it's south of $1 million. And Dana came out and he got mad, and Dana released the official figures. Oh, no, he didn't. Then Dana could have shut Bob Arum up quick. He didn't release the real figures. UFC, ladies and gentlemen, is a private company. They don't have to release the figures. They don't have to release them. I'm sure the pay-per-view did a lot. But what I found funny was that just last week on ESPN, by the way, it said on an asterisk, it said unofficial figures, by the way. It showed the quote-unquote four highest UFC, like most buys ever, right? And it didn't include UFC 100. It had McGregor Diaz and Khabib McGregor as the two highest. But McGregor Diaz supposedly did 1.5 million. Let's say it did. Well, what happened to the 1.6, 1.7 million that UFC 100 made? Well, what happened to those figures? Not to mention that, as you know, boxing pay-per-views, when they're released, the numbers usually go up. I know why, by the way. I know why they go up. It's actually a very simple explanation to that. But I know why they go up. But UFC numbers always had a habit to go down. Dana said there would, Tito versus Liddell did 1.2 million. Then all of a sudden it's 1.1. Then all of a sudden it was just a little over $1 million. Still great numbers. Now, till this day, there's no way for us to prove that, especially when someone like Tito Ortiz comes out and says, hey, if the fight supposedly did that, you owe me money, Dana, right? And Dana says, no, I don't. What do you mean I owe you money? Now, the reason boxing pay-per-views go up, by the way, because boxing pay-per-views generally, okay, they were done by HBO, public company, Showtime, public company. Okay, ESPN's a public company. Even though they have a partnership with UFC, even them, when they release numbers, guys, it's bullshit. It's just unofficial figures. Okay, you have to scratch your head at that. You have to say, what? Okay. Boxing pay-per-views go up because there's an initial number, okay? The initial reports are always a rough estimate, okay? That's the initial ones. Like, I'm talking 24 to 48 hours later are rough estimates. They base them off of how many times, like for example, what were the ratings for the, like, let's say, how many clicks on Google did said fighter have, and when Mayweather fought Canelo, they had so many searches on Google, so this fight had this many searches, and we use percentages. We can say that it did about this many, right? That's what the initial reports are based on, because there's no fucking way for them to know within a week the real number. It's impossible. Okay. Like you know what I mean? Why is it impossible? It's impossible because somebody orders a pay-per-view on their set-top box. A set-top box is like your box for Comcast or DirecTV. Okay, it's not like that buy. Okay, goes to the news reporters. Okay, so they can tally it up. It's not the way it works. It generates a buy, and then that buy is then sent to the bill. Okay, they bill you for that. Okay, and then you pay for it, okay, on your next billing cycle in most cases. This is why it takes time. Okay, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, they have a better estimate. But do you remember when, and I know we're talking about pay-per-views now, but fuck it, okay? Do you remember when, like, De La Hoya fought Mayweather? The first initial reports, and I remember like it was yesterday, said it did, oh man, with our figures showing that this fight did like 1.9 million, which was amazing, right? And then they said 2 million. And then they said 2.1. And then months later, when everything was tallied up, they said 2.4. And if you look it up today, if anybody could do me a favor and look it up today, look up what it says now. Okay? I believe it's more than that now. I really do believe it's more than that. I think it reached 2.5 million at some point. Why? Okay, the reason why, okay, is because orders done over phone and remote control are tallied until they're quote unquote downloaded. Okay? And once they're downloaded, it's not tallied up until the billing cycle ends. All right? Because it's a post-paid. Many pay-per-views are post-paid orders. Capiche? Right? And until you see the tally getting paid is when you know. Now, that's it. What's my point? My point is that if you take, when you look at UFC numbers, why are the figures always going down? Oh, man, this pay-per-view did 2.6. Oh, no, 1.6. I think it was first 1.7 and then 1.6 and then 1.5. Like, if someone could look up, I know I have AJ10 out here, look up what Google has right now as the pay-per-view buys for UFC 100. If you could do that, please, it'll be much appreciated. Okay? Please, oh please. Let me read some of these comments. Boxers want the mainstream recognition of UFC, while UFC fighters want the big money of elite boxers make. Absolutely. Especially the guaranteed money. Shoulder roll can be used in MMA. So you got a guy named Bobby Green and Connor actually use it a bit. Bro, like you could, like, you know what I mean though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, yes, you can use it if you have a backdrop. All right? Like if you're familiar with kicks and you're familiar with your opponent, and if, in case you get taken down, you know what to do. Like you know what I mean? Like it's different. Like Mayweather's not gonna go and win an MMA fight with a shoulder roll. Like it's just not gonna happen. Right? Which fight did 1.4 million? I'm not sure. Bobby Green got KO'd using a shoulder roll. Well, that was quick. Man. UFC did 1.3 million. Now, I want you to remind people, one, that's not an official figure because they'll admit it's not an official figure. But let's say it's true. Why, when it first came out, why did they say like 1.7? It never fails. So once the hype and everything's gone, you know what I mean? And you get the praise for those buys. Then later, real quietly, they announced it didn't do that much. Okay. Wikipedia says UFC 100 had 1.6 million buys. Well, some stories sites say 1.6, 1.3, 1.5. Ladies and gentlemen, no one fucking knows. No one knows how much it made. Nobody knows. No one knows. Right? Nobody knows. Period. Let's see. Wikipedia uses figures that Dave Meltzer came up with. Well, there you go. Absolutely. Brokeup's Gamer saying, how's your day? Oh, nine. What's going on, everybody? Man, this is a lot of figures, bro. Now, the Conor and Khabib fight is the highest grossing MMA pay-per-view of all time. What are the figures they say was made in that fight? And how many of this is domestic compared, like, because that's UFC also, it counts worldwide pay-per-views from my understanding. Okay, if boxing did that, okay, then we got to go 900,000 for Mayweather and 1.5 million in the UK. So Mayweather had and did 2.4 million by that logic. You know what I mean? Because that's another thing they do. They tally up worldwide pay-per-views. So there's somewhere in the world where on their app they sold a pay-per-view for $10. Like they count that. What's up, Batman Tweet? The pink goof. He doesn't like releasing pay-per-view numbers, bro. They can make it up. Many countries don't have UFC pay-per-view. It doesn't matter. My point still stands. The ones that do, okay, they tally those, including England, okay, including all that. Most sources say Conor could beat. Let's say it did. What proof do we have? The figures are unofficial. You know what I mean? They're unofficial. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Batman Tweet. I hope you're all right, bro. Yeah. Over there in England. Absolutely. Anyways, guys, I am tired. I can't wait to do my official shows, man. I just can't. Right? Boxers, stay in boxing. Okay? If you want to take risk and all, like, do it in your own damn sport. Like, I don't get it, bro. Okay? And they don't want to take a risk in their own damn sport, but they're going to go, like, fight an MMA fighter in a cage. Like, get the fuck out of here. Okay? With that said, oh, man, I'm out of here. Peace.